Welcome to the Trading Lounge, and here we look at the S&P 500 on a 2-hour chart. The wave count is still impulsing to the upside, but we are coming to the top of the little 5-wave structure that we've been following for wave 3 here. So the 1, the 2, 3, 4, and the 5 here. This may have a top in here already. It's not going to go that. It's not going to go that much further. Top 1630 there before we see that. Then the wave 4 is going to be a little bit complicated. The wave 2 here was a simple ABC, so the wave 4 here, may take sort of, 2 or 3 sessions at least before we see any sort of further upside there. So just sort of bear that in mind, and that's what we're approaching. So that can be the top there, or we could push up a little bit higher, and that's the same for the US 30 as well. So essentially looking for the same thing, the 5 of the third. The top can be in at 1556 here, or there can be another little push there, but it's not going to go that much further. Essentially a wave 4 across the 15,000 here, the medium level, before we see any further upside. You can expect that there we can, so that's that. I've tried to have a bit of a close look in here at the last little wave up through here. And the reason I thought there may be a top in it, because it's a little bit difficult to count, but the 1, the 2 here, then the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5 for the third, strong selling for the fourth here, and then the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5 here to complete it. That's what I was kind of thinking, and I have pulled it apart. I know it's a bit squashed up here, but I don't know, it's a bit iffy, but it does work. But if the 1520 becomes the resistance there, then the wave 4 is definitely started from that point there. But of course we need to see that on the cash market as well there. But it does fit our markets. Our weekly bullish cycle really has there's a bit of profit taking on the Tuesday, but normally finds it regains itself, and our market did regain itself somewhat. Just having a look at it here, it got sold off, and the RBA figures came in and it, supported the situation somewhat. But Wednesday can be a V-shaped day where we have it down in the morning and up in the afternoon, and then Thursday can be the bear day and so forth. Then Friday being the bullish day. Now, looking at this particular correction across here, it's a little bit tricky, but this does count here as a nice ABC. So it is actually an ABC pattern through here. This here obviously looks and fits very well as a B wave in 3 waves. And as a C wave here, it does not count very well here. It's still counting in 3 waves here. So that's a bit of it's a little bit confusing. So we just need to allow this to play out a little bit. But as I see it so far, we've got just a larger wave 4 in terms of an A, a B, and a C here. But if US markets are topping out into their 4th wave, then that's going to place pressure here as well. So we could see it get a little bit sort of larger through here. So as it stands, we should see a move up through here. But when we look, there's a very close relationship to the European market. Obviously not at the moment. The DAX is also in line with the US here, and the FTSE as well, as we've been tracking up, has also been in line with the US markets as well. So we're not really getting any leads from there. We've got. I know that when we look at the banking sector in the US, in Australia, it's still pushing to the upside, and I can still see there's more to go in the upside, and we're also seeing. The likes of BHP and Rio, the materials sector, find a bit of a low and having a rally as expected. So it's a little bit unusual that we're not seeing more to the upside here. But look, I'm not quite sure about this. If support came in on the 51.72 there, then we can. Look to go long from that point. But as long as that low stays in there, then this should work higher here. just this three-wave price action is a little bit sort of confusing, and I would like to, if that market can make a new high above here, then that would confirm that this is a corrective move through here. But it doesn't, as a C wave, it should count in 5 waves to the downside, as we were pointing out yesterday. So realistically, this counts better as a triangle, even though it's not looking like a triangle. But a triangle has each structure within it is 3 waves, and there's normally 5 waves, so we'd count this as an A, a B, a C, a D, and then an E wave, and then up from that point there. And wave 4s, triangles do occur in wave 4s, where they don't occur in wave 2. So let's have a look at the commodities. They've got a bit more of a telling story. Okay, starting with the copper market here, for base metals, we're looking at this as a wave to here, a B wave in 3 waves, and C wave up to here. Now, I did have this counted a little bit differently in terms of having a top in here as such, but in terms of that being a 3, 4 here, and this being a 5 here. Now, that's quite possible as such here, but I was just wondering, this has sort of got 2 structures within this, so I think that it's probably better placed, well, as an option anyway, up for 1 and back for 2 here, then up for 1 and back for 2, up for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, just for the 3rd wave. So as such here, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and 5 here, the wave 4 here, and wave 5 to go up through here. Wave 5 is not going to go very far because wave 1 was very small here, so it's not like a big deal if it's going to happen, but it will support the base, the material sector for once that's finished. Once this A, B, and C is finished here, then we should see further downside from that point there, and that's got bearing on some of the trades that we've got in. We've got Rio in there, but on the long side. But this is BHP in the US here, so we can see that that's up here, and we're expecting it to find support on the 65, the medium level, and when it retested it here, that's sort of confirmation that that there is support there. So we'll see some type of correction unfold within this area through here. The Australian BHP, if I can just find that for a moment as well, it's looking quite chirpy. The same pattern. We've been tracking 5 waves down, so we're expecting a move back up through through here. I'm treating it as a rally, but it could turn into something a bit larger. So it's sort of worthwhile buying something off the bounce, but giving it plenty of room to move. And let's just see how that develops. It may develop in an A, B, and a C up to here, and then roll over from that point, or into a 5-wave structure. Because if we get 5 waves here, then we'll get 3 waves back and then another 5. So we'll be looking to add, if that's the case, on the pullback. I think more interestingly are the banks. So if I can just find some banks here, the Morgan Chase here. This is a daily chart. This one's lagging a little bit, but as I mentioned before, we got a 5-wave structure down through here, and we call this an A and a B and a C wave here. That means that high there will be taken out. I mean, it's not there yet, but we were aware of that here. We've been yakking about it, and we've seen it come up for 1 and back for 2 here, and we're seeing it move up through here. So this has got further to go. Of course, in this particular case, we've got $50 there, so it's going to struggle and do its thing, but we should still see a 5-wave structure moving up through there. And when we have a look at some of the other banks, that's UBS, but it's a Swedish version, so it's a Swiss version. So let me just find the US version here. Right, so this is a weekly chart here, and this is just displaying a bigger picture. I mean, just before on the daily, we'll just look at that ABC for that market, and it hadn't made a new high yet, where this one has made a new high. So this one's leading the way, so it's already taken this high out through here. But more interesting enough is that this is also on the weekly in ABC here, so I'd expect this high to be taken out. So, and this also counts as an impulse wave up through here, so like a 1 and a 2 here, and expecting, still strong moves to go up through here. So, our banks should follow this. That's the thing. This is a daily one here, the Bank of America, and it's hit 13 now, so it's going to obviously sort of sit there for a while. But the same thing, we've been watching that little pattern, that A, the B, and the C here on the daily. We've watched that move up through here. Off the medium level here, 1150, and should continue to move up higher through here. So it's only logical that our banks will do the same as well. They are paying good dividends and so forth. They're sprinkling money out there to attract money so they can lend money when the time's right. So, it's I don't know. It'll just go higher. They'll call it a banking bubble and all the rest of it. But all I know is that I can see that they're going to go higher, and you need to be holding long in those banks there. Right. The other thing, okay, that's fine. Sorry about that. The oil market, as you know, if I just find a daily chart here, we've got this trend line, resistance through here, and it's going to struggle. That's the main point, and we're expecting an ABC back for this wave E here before we see further upside here. So with that in mind, we're thinking that this is the top here, and we're looking for an A, a B, and a C wave back through here, and then up, which would make the E wave that I just talked about. But, in terms of trading this, we can't trade this short here until that 95 is the resistance. And even when it does, it will just come down to 93 and bounce back, and then bounce back to the 95 again. So, it's not really good trading here. When this does pull down, we could look at buying oil stocks, be it in the US or wherever, but yeah, so not a lot of movement there. And this is just really sort of going to follow stock as well, but we're seeing a higher US dollar as well, which we'll look at in a moment. We expect that to go much higher, which is going to place pressure on the markets. This gold market here, as you know, just go back here to the bigger picture here. We're looking for we're treating this as a rally, a corrective rally when I say that, and and rolling over. Now we can see that it's struggling here. A lot of this is corrective, but we are starting to see this move down through here. Now, this move down through here, it hasn't developed as a impulse wave just yet. 5 waves. So what we'd be sort of looking at, if I can just draw this out here to try and make it a little bit clearer, is the 1, the 2 here, the 3 probably down to here, the 4 here, and the 5 here. If we get that 5-wave structure, then we'll get a 3-wave counter trend back up here, retesting supply, and then we'll come down from that point. So this would be the shorting zone through here. So you just have to trade very sort of shorter degrees of structure within here. Having a closer look at that here on the 15-minute chart, this is sort of how it counts here as such. So if I can just go back to the beginning here, we've got this move down through here, which is just labelled as 1, an A, and a B, and a C back for 2. Then we've got the 1, the 2, and we were talking about this yesterday where it had, on a 5-minute chart, where it had sharper falls here and slower going back up through here. So as mentioned, if it drops out of, well, being under 72 is I treat it as a bearish bias. And I need to be on that. I trade on that side. If I had support, then I trade on that side. Is how I do it. So, but here you can see that the 1465, the lower level within Group 2 here, has retested it quite nicely, and it's retested it in 3 waves. That's the other important thing. So when it's retested that you can see that it's a corrective wave, and then we've got 5 down, and then the retest here. Then and then you got this one. So you sort of know that there's many subtleties that make it all up, but basically whichever way you look at it, that way, or you can look at it this way as well. It's probably safer, but look, anyway, that's retested resistance in 3 waves, probably on lower volume on each uptick here as well. So that's going. So now we're down at the midpoint. We're in a wave 4 here. So wave 4's, I put that wave 4 there because that move there is in 3 waves. So no matter what happens here, that's a corrective structure, and eventually we'll find the 1450 as the resistance through here. So it can just get a bit more complicated. That move through here also looks corrective as well. So that's why we're seeing this above here. In your degree of structure, whatever you're trading, you know, it has got support on the 1550. So if you're trading sub levels, then you need to be on that side of the market. When it does, or if it finds resistance here, then you need to be on that side. So we're looking for wave 4, wave 5 to make wave 3, then wave 4, then wave 5 to make the wave 3 here. So we'd still need 4 and 5 here to get that impulse wave structure that I just talked about to the downside. So look, there is a possibility of this being an impulse wave. We just got to you know, if you've been short through here, that's great, but being short through here can be, in waves 4s and 5s, can be a little bit tricky, so you'll need to give it room to move through that. Silver's in much the same boat as well. As you know, this is just a 2-hour chart here, but it's the same sort of pattern, but it's more of a bearish pattern here in this, because it's very clear to see that we've got a 3-wave corrective move back into the 2500 here. Now, being a wave 4, it can get complicated, as it has been, and we're looking at this as the B wave here. Now, this little move up through here, as we mentioned yesterday, this is where the bullish scenario comes in, because this little move up through here is in 5 waves, so we could label that as a C wave that never made a new high here. But I do have to say there is normally a relationship between the A wave, as this A wave here has got a relationship to this wave C here. Those two have got relationships, but there should also be a relationship between in distance between this A wave here, this larger one, and the C wave here. So, you know, if I was looking at this normally, I would see, well, the B wave's finished, then we'll need a C wave up to, you know, up to this point in 5 waves. So we'd be looking for a 5-wave structure up, which is just, I think that's a bit small. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 there to finish that larger C wave there. So that's a real possibility. So in looking at this little structure to this move down here appears like it's in 5 waves, but so does that little move up there. So it's just a little bit confusing and needs a bit of time to sort itself out. I'm just trying to find that here. So you can see that this move through here is, it doesn't have overlapping wave structures, so it's an impulse wave, okay? So if it's going to be a bear market, then it's simply going to fail from here. That's how that's going to pan out. The other side to this is that it doesn't, it only comes back down to 23.72, stays within group 2 here, the 80, 72 and 65, stays within that, and then moves up from there as such. So given a little bit of time, the 2400 is important, but the next here will be the 23.72. So if that becomes the resistance, then you can look to short from that point there. Yeah, so just don't know. I mean, it can be bearish because this move down through here can be counted as an impulse wave, but this is also an impulse wave. It's not. I'm not seeing it as a corrective wave through here, so a little bit iffy. But the good news is that the whole silver market is putting itself into a corner here. So we'll know shortly. But if you do get support on the 2400, then you'll be looking to go long from there. But as I mentioned, we're looking for 5 waves up, 3 waves back, and then up there and having support on there. And you go along from that point. If it's at group 2 here, it falls out of group 2 and retests it, then you go short from that point there. And silver is weaker than gold because silver never rallied as as high as gold did. It just really stayed quite, the whole correction stayed quite low at this stage. So I think that's reasonably interesting. But let's have a look at the currencies now. The US dollar is putting itself into a situation where it can move much higher, and if that's the case, it will place pressure on all of these commodities. Okay, the US dollar, I think, is one of the most interesting markets at the moment, in terms that we've got this A, B, and C wave in here, and we're sort of confirming this because we can see that we've got a 5-wave structure up through here, and we were looking for an A and a B and a C, which may be in now, so that wave 2 here can be put here, and we would expect that market to move up from that point there. So if that moves up, then there's going to be placing a lot of pressure of different degrees on lots of other markets, but just to have a look at this internally through here first. Also too, with this wave 1, 2 and 3 here, that means that this high here would be taken out because we've got that ABC correction there. So that's what we're looking for. It's just sort of drilling in there from this low here. We'll just have a look at this here for a moment so we're all on the same page. So from this low here on this 15-minute chart, we're looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for wave 1. We're looking at the A wave here. We had a nice B wave, an A and a B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C of B, and then we were looking for the C wave through here as well. The C wave, didn't really give us a nice clean sort of structure within here, but it's still sort of done its journey a little bit in its own way. So we can class it as wave 2 here. So in looking at this here now, we've got this as wave 1, wave 2, nice strong wave 3 here. The wave 4 here being, sideways and complicated in relationship to wave 2 here, the alternating factor in nature. So we're looking for a little wave 5 up through to here at some point, and that would also make a smaller wave 1 and a wave 2 here, and then we would be moving up reasonably strong from that point there. So I think that's interesting. If that does move up, if that all makes new highs through here, then obviously that's going to be pushing the euro to the downside. So when we're looking at the euro here, it's a 30-minute chart here. We were looking at this as a wave 5 here, to a low, an A and a B and a C here, which is coming to place nicely. And we're looking for this to move down through here as well. So as we were looking at 5 waves up in the US dollar, we're looking at 5 waves down here, the mirror opposite through here. Wave 1, wave 2 back to the 131 here, and then wave 3 down. So you need to navigate through group 2 here, and you can see that group 2 has a bit of weight to it. So we may not get that spike down for wave 1, or we may just see how we go in the next session. But we are looking for, in its own way, the 1, 2, 3, the 4 here, and the 5 down through to here. Then an A, B, C back. But if this spikes down through here, then the ABC maybe just back into the 72 there, and then down from that point. So just be a bit mindful of that, and find your own way through that. But yeah, should be a good trade. The Australian dollar is on track with its wave count. So we've got well, it's probably best to have a look at the 4-hour chart on on our site. But from the 103.80 up here, we've got down for 1, the ABC back for 2 that we're tracking, and now we're in wave 3 down through here, and wave 3 is not finished yet. Okay, so we've got wave 1 down to here, wave 2 to here, then we've got the 5-wave structure for wave 3 here, wave 4 pulling back here. Wave 4 normally breaks the trend line of the trend channel in a trend. This is the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree in here, so that's a target price point as well. The 38.2 retracement level for wave 4 would come in probably just below that there somewhere. Yep. So in here, so it may not get there either. We'd be looking at an A and a B and a C wave up through here. So allow it to retest supply. And once it sort of fails, then you know that you got your top in place and work lower from that point. The other point to all of this as well is that wave force can get complicated, so we could end up with a triangle pattern through here. But in one way or another, the safer trade would be the 101.72 as retested resistance for the downside, and we'll be looking at this area down through here as such for the wave 3, where there will be a wave 4 bounce back up, retesting somewhere up here as such as well. So yeah, in fact this going to be a little bit, this wave 1 here looks longer than this guy here, or pretty much the same length, so the wave 5 is not going to extend much, so you can expect a reasonable bounce off this 101 down through here. Alrighty, well that's it in a bit of a nutshell. So good morning, good luck, and enjoy the day ahead.